Alright, in this video I'm going to give you 10 beginner tips for Rainbow Six Siege. For the more advanced players out there, you might know some of these, but you might not have known some. So if you don't want to miss any, then make sure you watch the video. If you're a beginner at Rainbow Six Siege, it can be very daunting to try and actually get into the game. So I'm going to hopefully give you some tips to help you improve a little bit faster and get you on the right track. First tip on attack side of things is make sure you shoot all of the cameras you can. Now I'm going to use Oregon for an example. Every map on the game will have at least 3 or 2 outside cameras. Some maps have 4, I think, but mostly they'll have 3. Oregon, for example, there's one here on street, there's one on construction, and there's one over by junkyard over there. And now a defender can get on these cams and see that, what spawn the attackers are running out of. So if you are an attacker, you want to make sure you shoot all the cameras, even the ones that are far away from you, just so it gives the defenders the wrong impression. They may think, oh well, they've killed a junkyard cam, someone could come from junkyard side, even though you're not. So it just gives a bit of pressure for the defender. So make sure you shoot all of the default cams. But there's all 3 default cam shot, even as well, doing stuff like this, shooting open doors where the cameras are to shoot them from outside. And it means that it creates more pressure that you're going to possibly push that way, even if you're not. Another example can be shooting these the armory cam from outside of the window kind of thing, and then going up and to do your normal push. Little things that they don't hinder your push, but it'll also cause some questions for the defenders, because they're not going to know what's going to hit them. Now the second tip that I'm going to give you is to drone your entry point, and this is basically, it's going to save you some time within the rounds. So what I mean by this is, in the prep phase, you should take your drone to where you want to enter from. So let's say I want to jump in armory. I'm going to try and get my drone within armory in the prep phase. I might hide it somewhere. Now I know that as soon as I spawn in, I can run straight to the armory window, get straight on rappel, check my drone and make sure it's good. If it's good, I can jump straight in. All the time I've just saved there, rather than having to get a drone in. If you can't get a drone in the prep phase, the second best option is to just throw one in. But it's that little bit extra, extra time, extra noise to actually throw the drone in. So if you can, get it in within the prep phase. Now the next tip that I'm going to give you is for gunfights. Now if you want a full video on how to win more gunfights, then make sure you drop a comment, because I can make a video on that. But what I'm going to tell you in this video is make sure you're leaning correctly. Now I don't mean you need to shake or peek every angle. You don't need to quick pick everything. You don't need to actually move like that and quick pick everything and jiggle everything and try and bait gunfire out. All you need to do is make sure you're leaning the right way. So if I'm going to pick this angle, you'll see there, even I just habitually just lean the right way. If I'm going to pick a door, peek to the left like this, I want to make sure I'm leaning right. And then if I'm going to peek from the right, I want to make sure I'm leaning left. When you get used to it, it becomes habit. But basically what I'm saying is, don't lean into gunfights like this. And make sure you're leaning the right way before you peek. Because if I'm leaning the wrong way and I try to swing round, they can see me right now and I can't see anything. But if I go like this, I see them as well at the same time as they see me. So it just creates a bit of it helps you a bit, because you might be leaning the wrong way accidentally. You might fat finger the wrong lean key and then lean out the wrong way or something. Make sure you don't do that. Make sure you lean the right way. If you do want to see a full video on quick peeking, on all the different types of quick peeks, I can make one, but there is a lot out there, so I wasn't gonna. But if you want to see that and see my take on that, then drop a comment down below. Now the next tip that I'm going to give you is to not solo queue. Now I'm a big advocate for solo queuing. I do really enjoy playing solo queue. It's an extra challenge, but for a beginner player, it's not ideal. You don't want to have to solo queue every game. So what I'm going to suggest to you is, every game that you play, make sure you go to the top maybe 1-2 top fraggers of the game, or top most kills, and then just click on the profile and send them a friend request, and then see if they'll accept you in and invite them to a game, and maybe you make some friends, because it gets a bit sticky out in the trenches. So make sure you get some to partners to play with. Alright, so I've switched over to the defender side now for some extra tips on defense. So the first tip I'm going to give you for defense is the second the action phase starts. So you've done your prep phase, you've done your setup. The second the action phase starts, go on default cameras. Just like the very first tip is to shoot cameras straight away. If you check the cameras right away, you'll be able to kill them while they're shooting the cameras. So you might be able to get what operators they're playing straight away. You might be able to get which spawns they're spawning from, which direction they look like they're going to push towards. And maybe they don't shoot the camera, maybe they forget, and you'll see exactly where they're going to go. So it's just really beneficial to just, as soon as you spawn in, as soon as the round starts and the attackers spawn in, check the default cameras, see where they're going to come from, and just get that little bit of an extra heads up, and then you can start focusing your defense. You might want to like move some gadgets around, you might want to move some shields around. Now speaking of shields, the next tip is for shields, like shield placements. Now Siege added a mechanic where you can place shields in doorways like this and attach it to the door. This is not how you want to place shields. You should not be placing shields like this. You might think, oh well, it blocks the full door, it's good, it's extra cover, it's good. But no, this is actually bad. The reason why is because I can just come up here with an ash charge or some form of destructibility and just ash it and get rid of it. And then the only way to stop that would be a Jaeger device that's inside of this room, which is really like exposed and unprotected. What you want to do instead is to do this. You want to place shields a little bit further back from the doorway and then a little bit on an angle like this. This is just an example. I'm not saying this is a good shield spot. It's just an example of what I'm like have right now able to do. So now I can use this shield. I can peek around it. I can peek from both sides of it and over the top, and I can also protect it with an ADS like inside, which is a lot more safe than putting it outside in this room. And it also means as well that if the shield was in the doorway, like attached to the door, to get out of this room and fight aggressively, you would have to vault over the shield, which just makes you an easy target to kill. Instead, if you do it like this, you can quickly just run through around the shield. So it just saves like a little bit of time, a little bit of it keeps the shield alive a little bit longer because you can protect it better. And it also means that you're not stuck like in a vault prompt to get out of the room and to like fight aggressively. Now the next tip for defenders is to make sure that you're hunting down drones. The attackers every round will have 10 drones. Every round they'll have the same 10 drones. So what you want to do is in the prep phase, if you see a drone, you want to hunt it down and make sure you can get rid of it. If you can get rid of as many drones as possible, it'll mean that the attackers have to push with less info, right? So if you can get rid of all 10 drones, the attackers have to push in with no info. Like all they have is the info that they got prior in the round, and like the info that they get from face check. So you want to make sure you're shooting drones to get this, make it as easy as possible for you to make plays and win the rounds. If you killed a lot of drones, you can start making some like aggressive little weird ratty plays that they won't expect, and that might get you some free kills. And that in other rounds where you don't kill all the drones, they might have a drone place somewhere to like stop you from flanking. They don't have this luxury if you get rid of all the drones, right? So make sure if you see a drone in the prep phase or if you see a drone in the round, you try hunting it down. Just don't do it to the point where you get killed. Now the next tip is to talk to your teammate. Now this makes sense. You want to give info to the team, but that's not all you want to do. You want to also like communicate with them for like ideas for strategies. You want to say like, okay, well I want to do this strat. Can someone help me here? Can someone like, I'll give you an example here. Right, I want to play aggressive in the closet. I want to play like with a shotgun in the closet. Like I want to play a mute with a shotgun in the closet. Can somebody play aggressive on my trophy door just to back me up a little bit and then fall off if you need to fall off? That's one way you can talk to your teammates. Another way is to say, like later on in the round, you might have to win a game by holding like an entry point. Like, let's say I'm playing here, and my teammate's playing top white. You can say to him, okay, peek off my contact. That means he can play safe here in the corner. And then you can play the more aggressive angle like this, and then as soon as you start shooting, he's playing off your contact, so you've just made contact there, so he can swing and get a freebie on the guy that's not looking his way. And then you can also do this as well by creating crossfires. So let's say you're here again, and there's a guy playing by here. The breach is not open in this example. He has a crossfire. You have this angle, and your teammate has this angle. You're basically going to kill them at the same time. You're going to both see them at the same time and get a kill. That's a crossfire. That's ways you can, like things you can do to communicate with your teammates to like get these things going within the rounds and get some easy round wins. So this next tip I'm going to give you is an easy way to practice recoil control and get better recoil control. So what you want to do is come into like the training grounds, the shooting range, and you want to come to this like target and like use the gun that you would normally use, the operate as you would normally use, and do the recoil. Now it doesn't have to be perfect. It just like this is just for showing you guys right now. Now that's like just random book recoil control. Right. So what you want to do is you want to use the suppressor on whatever gun you use, and this is going to give you harder recoil to control. The same thing goes for the extender barrel, but I like to do it with suppressor just because it's what I've been doing for you. All right. So then when you're in when you're in with the suppressor on, you want to do the exact same thing. And you'll feel that the recoil is a little bit harder to control because the suppressor obviously makes the recoil harder. So what you want to do is you want to just practice with the suppressor on as much as you can and get better as much as you can, like good with the suppressor. And what this will mean is that when you go back to using the muzzle brake or the flash hider that you normally use, it'll be easier to control. So if I go back now, even just after like, I don't know, 30 seconds of doing that there, it should be better than what it was here. I mean, it's not like amazingly better, but it is better. So like, it's just an easy way to practice recoil control. If you're struggling a little bit with recoil, you can get the main sort of, because the other benefit with using suppressor rather than just using a different gun with a different with a higher recoil is it means that it doesn't change the pattern like altogether. Like the gun will still go up and to the left, or up or straight up, or up and to the right. It'll always do the same major like recoil pattern, but it'll just be little different variations that make it harder. Now the final tip that I'm going to give you is to go for headshots only, and like make sure you're keeping your crosshair head level. Now the reason why you want to do this is because Siege is a one-hit headshot game, so every single time you take a gunfight you want to aim for the head, because it'll get the opponents down quicker rather than aiming for the body. I'll show you the difference now. That's just going for body shots. Now if I just go for a headshot, it's simply just a one bullet gone. So how do you practice going for headshots? How do you practice your crosshair placement? What I like to do is I'll first of all go into a map training. So what you want to do is you want to go around the map training, aim and head level, and make sure you keep in head level as much as you can. And like, it'll just mean it's so much easier to hit headshots. Keep head level as much as you can going around in this the map training. And you also want to make sure that you're aiming only for the head. Like you're not going head level, and then as soon as you see an enemy, like flicking downwards to the body, you want to stay head level the whole time as much as you can. Obviously you might have to change for the crouching people, but for the most part you want to stay head level. Another thing to do as well is like start off slowly, and then start like speeding up when you get more like confident with like inconsistent with it, rather than trying to like speed through it and rush like that. You want to go a bit slower and like make sure you're getting the headshot every time. Make sure you're getting the headshot every time and go as slow as you need to. And then as soon as you like you'll realize that you can do it like faster after you do it a lot. You realize that you can start speeding up, and then eventually you'll be doing it like very fast. And then what you can do after this, after you've done all this in the training, map training, is you can move on to then playing death matches and do the same thing against real people. Like make sure you're keeping head level against real people. And then you can also do it within actual games as well. And you want to make sure you're doing this all within games as well, obviously. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, drop a like and I'll see you in the next video.